Yeah. Lot of money in here. Terror Squad. Now and forever. Top of the world, son. Yeah. They call me Joey Crack. My name will never be forgotten. Living in the NY city that's rotten. Niggas on the block still scheming and plotting. Wondering if my squad gon' stop bubbling. But we not, cause we all still shining. You average, we floss 4-carat diamonds. Laying up in the plushest suite with a thuggish freak. She love to eat plus bust the heat. We touch the street with the same principles. Every day gotta get this cash, know it makes sense to you. Joe Crack winning the mill. Retired from drug deals, but still keep the weapons concealed. Build with the guards, today's mad fast cars. Who cop what and got shot coming out the bar. My repertoire is far beyond belief. Y'all ain't much to me. Honestly, you can't fuck with me.
My life, my money, my world. My girls, see how she electrify the sky like a third round. Want us to fail cause you wanna pick. But as long as every song is ripped, you can't tell me shit. We've been doing this since Prince was the bomb. Before we changed his name and started making rap songs. Before the trigger talk and the heat would talk. Was the last resort. That brother sticking to the street.
Rush light, nothing on my wrist but crushed ice. Bumping the heights in the GS with the bug lights. Just the life that the player portrays. Looking laced in my FJ 5-6 days. There's many ways that we gon' get it. Look how many years we done did it. Cop land and build a home in it. That's all I ever wanted and dreamed of. Create a mean buzz, split cream and show my team love. You see us on your BET, rocking ice blue suits. Partner jury is the same fat kid from the Ave Trinity. Been around 3 years since my last LP, but it gets no better than this. Consecutive hits. You want some jealous ones? Every shit competitive, bitch. I got my enemies mapped out, no doubt. Take the Learjet to Cali, there's a party up in Shaq's house. You don't wanna compare counts, pull your stash out. The ultraviolence on my ice will make you pass out. My niggas force blackout, shoot up your skate key. You love to hate me, pushing the dope ass car to win 100.
This is the West Farms Depot. West Farms' routes include the BX6, local and select, BX8, BX11, BX17, BX19, BX21, BX27, BX31, BX32, BX33, BX35, BX36, and the BX46. The equipment that West Farms uses are New Flyer C40LF CNGs, Nova LFSAs, New Flyer XN40 and XN60 CNGs, and recently, as a loan from Michael J. Quill Depot, New Flyer XD40s, 3 of them. Under normal circumstances, we'd be talking about West Farms' routes, but I'm sorry to say that, unfortunately, this depot has a massive shit stain of stinker routes, and unfortunately, we have to go through all of them, so I'll try to go through this as quickly as I can, but we might get a little bit long on this one, so bear with me. Anyway, in terms of West Farms' routes, I'll give them credit for at least having a bit of reach when it comes to their route length and whatnot, and at least they're also routes that touch Manhattan, but at the same time, it's like, the length of some of these routes is the reason why these routes kind of suck. Take, for example, routes like the BX8, BX17, and the BX19. The length of all of these routes, and the BX21. The length of all of these routes is the reason why the routes are piles of garbage, like piles of shit. Especially the BX8 and the BX17 and the BX19. It's like, the routes are so long. And the problem is that because they're so long, buses feel so far spread out, and they feel so like you gotta go on a journey to find each and every one of them, and it's just so asinine because it's like, if you miss one of these buses, well, tough shit, buddy. Guess what? Now you gotta wait for another bus. So it's like you're fucked no matter which way you look at it, whichever way you look at it. You have to pray that you make it to a bus if you're on any one of these West Farms routes that are highlighted here, because if you're not, your ass is grass. I'm sorry to say. Like I don't know what to tell you. But the other thing with West Farms' routes is that even if they weren't as long as shit, there's just some that the gaps just are unbelievably bad. Like the BX32, for example, is just holy fuck. Jerome Avenue itself on the subway line is already bad as is. But the BX32 makes it seem a lot less bad when you compare it to it, because the BX32 is a fucking joke of a route. How the hell do you have a route that is so bad, the buses barely show up, but at the same time, it's like, because the fact that the buses never show up, the buses are fucking crowded. How the hell does that work? I don't get how that works. Don't even try to explain it to me. My brain already hurts trying to think about that. The BX32 is one of those routes that it's just like, you don't even know. You don't want to deal with it. At that point, if you really need to get somewhere along Jerome, just take the 4. Just take the 4, or take any one of the other Kingsbridge routes that are within the area. Look, I ragged a bit on Kingsbridge Depot and some of the routes, but at least those, you know what you're getting with. The BX32 is just, I don't even know. And what else is there? What other stinker? The BX19 again is like, the routes, the gaps fucking suck on it, and it's like, it's so unbelievably long. Like, it's so long, and that's what hurts it, because the fact that it's so long and it's a dead local, it's like, yes, it goes into Manhattan, but at the same time, it's like, what's even the point? Because a good chunk of the route, it's served by a subway line. Like, for the first half, when you get into the Bronx at 149th, you have the 2, the 4, and the 5, and then you have the 2 and the 5, and then when you get later on down the line, you have the 6. So it's like, what purpose does this serve besides maybe elevator access? But even then, it's like, some of Pelham stations already have elevators, so what's even the point? And then the BX8, as well. The BX8 is another one where it's too long and it has too much to do. It's like, all of these routes, when it comes to their length, feels like they have the same issue as the Q76, in which they're forced to do so much, but they can't do it all, and they just don't do enough because of the fact that they're all locals and they have, so much length. Again, kudos to at least having the length, but it doesn't mean anything when your length is also the same reason why your route sucks. But these are all of the I had to lump in the BX8, the BX17, and the 19, and the 21, because again, a lot of them all come from the same issue. But I'll also talk more about the 21 in a second. And even some of the other routes too, it's like, even if they're good, they still have their faults to them. Like the BX6, for example. The BX6 is a route that on any given day or even any given hour, it can flip on you at on a dime, because the BX6 really just doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a good route, or does it want to be a shit route, or does it want to be mediocre? The BX6 has such an identity crisis. At this point, I don't even know what to do about it, because it's like, yeah, it's another one of the routes that serves into Manhattan. It is an Arctic, and it's a it's a select bus service route, and plus the select gives us the the chance to see XN60s with SBS wraps. But even then, it's like, the BX6 is the same story. Do you want to be a good route, or do you want to be a shitty route? Because you can't be both. You can't just be both. And then what else is there? Oh man, some other routes. Oh. I mean, in terms of West Farms' other routes that aren't shit, they're all tolerable in some shape or form. I mean, like, you got routes like the BX11 and the BX31, which are, they could do the job, but at the same time, it's like, it feels like there's something lacking. Like, the most I could say for these routes is that they, at the very least, are like, you're guaranteed to have a bus on it. You might have to wait for a bit, but you at least you have a bus on it. I'll say that. It's it's not all great, but at least it's tolerable. The fucking, what else is there? What other routes am I missing? Oh, I almost forgot the BX27. The BX27, I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it's all right for what it has to do. It's okay. It's like, alternating trips between the ferry terminal and Classen Point could be a little obnoxious, but overall, it's a okay route. Like, it does what it has to do. I don't really have a lot too much bad to say about the BX27. What else is there? But cycling back to the 21, I don't want to miss out on the 21. But cycling back to it, the issue again with the BX21 is just because it's so long, it's like you have to put a limited on that. But even then, the limited's not gonna solve the issue. It's too long of a route. It has just way too much to do, and it's like, if you really need to get to Mott Haven at that point, or if you need to get to Westchester Square, just don't even bother with this. Just take the fucking 6 train. That's all I can really recommend, is just take the 6 at the very least, you know? Because, you know, it shares the same exact terminals with the 6, and it's like, why even bother, you know? Just what's even the point? Oh, good lord. What else is there? And then, of course, you also got, like, the routes that nobody pays attention. Like, nobody is using these routes whatsoever. The BX33, okay, it serves Manhattan, and it serves the Mott Haven area and the Port Morris area. But it's like, the BX17 exists, and it's the same thing. It goes into the middle of God knows where. Like who is using this route? I genuinely want to know, besides, like, maybe workers or whatnot, who is using this route? And the same goes for the BX46. Who the hell are using these routes? Like, nobody uses them. And then for that particular reason, it's like they're neighborhood routes. So, like, you know, it's like, because of the fact that they're neighborhood routes, this is what you got to put up with, you know? Like, I'll give the credit where it's due, but, you know, these routes just nobody's using them, and I'm not really going to spend too much time on them. Anyway, equipment and maintenance. West Farms' equipment, it's CNG equipment. They got an interesting allotment. I will say, as sleep as the Spectrum C40s are, they at least are cool to look at, you know, and they're still, I think they're still considered buses that weren't neutered by the transmission, but they're at least, you know, they're interesting. And I also got to give West Farms credit for CNG Excelsiors, because this is the first depot that I've experienced that has CNG Excelsiors. I think they look cool. They're a little, you know, not great, but, you know, they're cool. Like, they're interesting buses. I mean, how could you go wrong with a CNG Excelsior, you know? Unless you're Sylveon, but what else is there? And then they're Novas. They have Novas, you know, they have LFSAs. I mean, it's customary for a Bronx depot to have that. But maintenance-wise for West Farms, it's not great. I mean, from what I've seen from West Farms, it's like, maintenance isn't great, but at the same time, it's like, it's enough that it gets it by, but it's like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about their maintenance, because, you know, like, I ragged a little bit on Kingsbridge, but even Kingsbridge is like, that is what you got. Take it or leave it. Whereas this is just like, and also it doesn't help that I myself have seen a West Farms bus smoking from the back, so it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, again, maintenance ain't great, but it's the Bronx. And, like, the only point I'll really give West Farms at the very least is that, for the most part, at least for their Excelsiors and C40s, they try to make the outside look a little bit better than it really is. But, you know, even then, that's not really saying a lot, you know, because doing touch-ups on the outside can only get you so far. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really gotta say.
Now it's time for a history trip. Originally opening up as a trolley barn, as many MaBSTOA depots do, West Farms Depot was originally a trolley barn owned and operated by the Union Railroad Company, and was located just a little bit north of the 174th Street station, on the 2 and 5. This original iteration of the West Farms Depot served all the way up until 1983. In that time, it was sold to the New York Omnibus Corporation, like most of the MaBSTOA depots, and was converted into a bus depot. The depot ended its term as West Farms in 1983 when the Walnut Depot was opened, and further was fully closed down once the Gun Hill Depot was opened in 1989. Walnut, Gun Hill, and eventually supplemented by the Coliseum Depot, served the Bronx along with the Kingsbridge Depot, which later reopened in the mid-90s. But Walnut Depot was not a depot that was selected to last. In 1993, When the Kingsbridge Depot was reopened following its rehabilitation, Walnut Depot closed and remained in rehab for over 2 years before reopening again in 1995. The reopening of Walnut was meant as a temporary replacement for the Coliseum Depot, which at the time was being renovated into becoming a new CNG facility for New York City Transit. It would be the second of its kind. As a result, in 1998, of a 1998 buyout from a realty group, the Walnut Depot was closed down and now today stands as a printing press area for the New York Post. Meanwhile, when Coliseum was fully finished and renovated and opened in 2003, that became the West Farms Depot. In the intervening time that Coliseum was being renovated and Walnut Depot needed to store off some of its routes, many of the routes ended up going to the Michael J. Quill Depot, before that depot ultimately ended up taking Hudson Piers routes, eventually after that opened. After West Farms Depot was opened in 2003, it was again the second CNG depot in New York City's transit, following Jackie Gleason Depot, and like Jackie Gleason, most of its equipment at the time included Orion 5 CNGs and Orion 5 CNGs and New Flyer C40LFs CNGs, the 1999 and 2000 models. Over the years, West Farms Depot would gain a lot of CNG equipment and also non-CNG equipment. Some are limited but not exclusive to the RTSs, the Orion 7 CNG, the Orion 7 CNGs with the flip dots, exclusive to this depot only, the Orion 7 CNGs with the orange signs, which these are the 2000. These are I believe the 2002, 2003, and the 2003 and 2004 models. But don't quote me on that one though. Over the years, as West Farms' CNG allotment continued to expand, it would later eventually replace the Orion 5s with the New Flyer C40LFs, and in the later 2010s, it would replace a lot of its older, both the 40-foot fleet and its articulated fleet with the various newer buses such as the Nova LFSAs, the New Flyer XN40s and XN60s, which unfortunately meant the retirement again of the Orion 7 CNGs and the Orion 5 CNGs, as well as the New Flyer D60HFs. It's sad to see a lot of these old buses go, but sorry to say, this is transit and not everything is going to last forever. Some other things to note was that the current slotment of routes of West Farms today didn't all originally come from, didn't come from Walnut. Some other routes included some of the BX30 routes, which at the time were taken in by Mother Clara Hale, but once Mother Clara Hale closed in 2008, resulted in many of Hale's Bronx routes, such as the BX19 and the BX31 and 32, coming over from Hale to West Farms Depot. Even so, West Farms Depot was also split routes at one point in time, the BX15 and the BX15 Limited being one of them. But that's pretty much it for West Farms' history trip, and now it's time for my final thoughts on this depot. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be completely straight up. It's not really looking good. Excuse me. It's not really looking good with this depot, and I'm sorry to say, this depot feels a lot worse than in Kingsbridge, but the thing is, this depot has a lot on its plate to do, and it's really asking a lot of its buses, where it's like the routes are so long, but because they're so long, there's not enough buses and there's not enough, it just doesn't do enough. They're expected to do too much with too little. Now I can respect West Farms for having the balls, and I mean the balls, the cast brass balls, to carry a lot of the Bronx under its wing, and this carries every corner of the Bronx, from the Pelham Bay area to the Throgsneck area to Soundview to the Port Morris area, all the way up far north to Woodlawn and into Manhattan. West Farms puts in the work. It does a lot. And I can respect it for that. But maintenance is very shoddy. No duh, it's a Bronx depot. Maintenance is very shoddy. Presentation is not great. even Gun Hill and sometimes Gun Hill and Kingsbridge do a bit better job when it comes to presentation. The engines sound horrible. I don't know how you make a C40 sound horrible. I've seen my share of C40s that are horrible. There's gaps suck. Gaps really do suck. What else is there? And there's a lot wrong with West Farms. There's a lot wrong with it. And also, some of your drivers are rude. Some of your drivers are really, really rude. And I'm not gonna lie to you. But that's another story that I don't have the time to tell you. And really though, West Farms has a lot working against it. But I do gotta respect it for at least somewhat trying. Somewhat. You're not the worst depot in the Bronx. I'll say that. You're not the worst depot in the Bronx. You're nowhere near as bad as Gun Hill. You try at the very least, but at the same time, it's just like, this is just unacceptable. And bus routes in particular, where it's like, you can have it be like having an identity crisis like the BX6, and that's, mind you, sometimes when it's bad on the BX6, when there's like no selects at all, and there's only locals, that's a bad sign. And really, it's just, I don't really know what you could do with West Farms at that point, but because West Farms really is in the shitter. Again, it's not as bad as Gun Hill on a consistent basis, but when West Farms does fuck up, they fuck up supreme, they fuck up spectacular. This all being said, I'm gonna be fair to West Farms, and I'm gonna give them a very, very, very middle 5.5 out of 10. I feel like that's a fair enough score to give, because this is a depot, again, I like the equipment out of this depot. I really do. And I like the fact that it has a lot of routes, and it tries to do a lot of work in the Bronx. It needs to be better. It has to get better. And also, fix your driver's fucking attitudes, I swear to God. But, that all being said, West Farms Depot is a 5.5 out of 10 depot. I am the NYC Railroader, and we got one more Bronx depot to do. And this one, I got a bad feeling about this one. And you guys, brace yourselves. Next one's going to be a doozy. That's all. Goodbye.
In the dope ass car to win 180.
My life, my money, my world, my girls. TS electrify the sky like a girl round. Want us to fail cause you wanna dick. But as long as every song is ripped, you can't tell me shit. We've been doing this since Prince was the bomb. Before he changed his name and started making wax songs. Before the trigger talk and the heat when talk was a last resort. And brothers took it to the street.
Yeah. Gon' ride for you. Yeah. Gon' ride for you. Gon' ride for you. Yeah, we gon' ride for you. We gon' ride for you. Yeah, we gon' ride for you. Motherfucker gon' ride for you. Yeah, everybody in the struggle. Hold your head, baby. Yeah, Charlie Rock LD, Big Surge, Big Frank, Big O. We gon' ride for you. Best believe I'ma ride for you. Yeah, I'm gon' ride for you. Best believe we gon' ride for you. Terror Squad, 9-8, New Millennium. Joey Crack, Realness. 1. Tony Montana.